this contest set for one fall is for the WWE Championship.
Life moves pretty fast. You don't stop and look around once in a while, you could miss it.
Welcome to Around the Turnbuckle. I'm the Big Alboski. That guy right there is Professor Keith. At least his picture and his voice. And
the
joining
bubble
us,
of knowledge is over, I swear.
and in joining us is the king of Vecs himself, Tommy Vecs. What's up, man?
That intro made me want to run through a wall, a brick one.
Right?
Pretty epic stuff.
And I probably think that you probably can.
No, the wall would win.
Oh, the wall would win? Okay.
100%
Well, at least
of
you
the
admit
time.
that.
Yeah.
See, the first step is admitting it. And then, you know.
I'm not a good liar.
I feel like he's already better than the Ultimate Warrior, because the Ultimate Warrior would have believed he would have beaten the wall because somebody
right.
told him he could
That
have.
would be an awesome matchup. I'd pay to see that.
The wall versus the Ultimate Warrior?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Great matchup.
I still say Harley Race has the best Ultimate Warrior stories where he's like, they had me work with him on the house shows.
Hey, the
What
wall
I
beat
would
the,
do.
the wall beat the Shockmaster, so you know I don't know.
Yeah,
if we could do
that's true. The wall is undefeated.
the wall is
when you think about
undefeated.
it.
He's 1-0.
Yeah.
Beat the Shockmaster. All right,
Chance to ever beat the wall.
Tommy Vecs. You have been a guy that the professor and I have seen many matches both live and online, and you have been somebody that we've been wanting on this show for damn near 2 years. So
We
thank
actually
you.
got to
I'm a
call one
slippery
two of your
fella.
matches, I think.
Thank you for coming on here today.
Anytime. I'm a slippery guy. What can I say? It's hard to get
I know.
along.
You are. We
But-
finally got you in a corner and we made you commit.
But persistence paid off, and also big
That
shout out
sounded
to
really bad.
Big shout out to Big Dave Motorman, who's a huge SWO fan,
Mhm.
who kind of put you and I together at the last SWO show. And speaking of the devil, here's his comment already.
No.
Hello, guys. We gather around the turnbuckle again this Sunday night with excitement to hear the story of Tommy, a great worker, whether heel or face, who always provides us with great entertainment.
I don't know what this heel or face words are. I don't know what any of that means.
Yeah.
Well,
Andy,
thank you.
babe.
Hello.
What's up, Andy? How you doing?
Oh, just me, not you guys. Hi to me. and
Yeah,
not
just
you.
hello, Tommy. Forget
Yeah.
us. It's okay.
Yeah,
We're here.
forget
You know,
you
we're
guys.
here, but we're not.
We're facilitators. That's all
All
we
right,
do.
man. So, how did this journey start for you? Because, like, every wrestler that we've ever spoken to in the past 2 years, each story is different. And some guys are like, you know, well, somebody talked me into it one day, and they said, you know, I think you're a rather athletic guy. You could probably try this. Or you get the story of, you know, when you were a kid, you started watching it when you were a kid. So tell us the story of you and how you got, you know, to where you are now as far as getting in the ring.
So you could thank my father for me getting into pro wrestling. So you can actually blame him. He has the same name as me. He would always be watching it when I was a kid, and there are always tapes laying around and stuff because VHS days. Yeah,
Oh,
I know
yeah.
I'm old.
So are we. I remember VHSs. I think I
I'm
still
older than
have.
you.
I think I still have a few of them laying around somewhere.
Oh, I have
Yeah.
some.
And it was always WrestleMania 15 was the big one. That's the one that I'd always watch on VHS back in the day. And
I was
then,
at that one.
Oh yeah, thanks for the invite.
Yeah, I was at Mania. It was Philadelphia, and
Yeah.
it was The Rock versus Austin at the end. Yeah.
Yeah, thanks for the invite, bud.
Did I know you then?
No, that'd
You
be weird
should've.
if you invited me because I was like 3 years old. So
Yeah.
It would have been kind of weird.
Yeah, Al was
Probably
like, what?
not
You were like
even.
20s, 30s at that point? That would have just been
What was that? 96?
Yep.
90,
I think
no,
that was.
99.
99?
Yep.
Okay, so I was 23.
Yeah, that'd be a little strange.
Yeah, that
Little
would have
weird.
been.
Unless I was your dad.
Yeah, but you weren't so creepy.
Yeah.
All right, keep going. Don't mind us.
It's pretty much that, and I just grew up watching it based on that, and then we started having shows in our living room and in our backyard because I'm a yarder. What can I say?
Right.
So I could probably find those tapes at some point. That's pretty scary.
Of backyard stuff?
Yeah,
Like
well, living
you
room
doing
stuff.
backyard stuff?
So it'd be like me and my cousins and friends and stuff. We would just have a camera set up. It's funny because when my grandmother was at work, my grandfather was retired. So we'd do film our show, and we knew what time my grandmother got home. We had to be all packed up and good to go because she'd be so mad. She would kill us. So that's how I got my humble beginnings in the untrained world, and then I turned 16 and started training.
And where did you seek training?
So I started off with Lovebug and with Mongoose in Allentown at Bud Carson's place in a
good old
in a
Mike
garage outside of a
Mongoose.
gym.
I was
Yep.
gonna say, I think we know Mike Mongoose.
Yeah,
I
he was on
absolutely
the
know
show.
Mike. I
Friend
know
of the
Mike
show.
Wilson.
Yes,
He is a
very
friend of
much
the show.
so.
And then the school ended up shutting down there. Something with the building that they were at, and they couldn't find anywhere new to go. So the next local one was the Samoans. So I started there a few months after.
So the Samoans. And so how long did you train with them until you started actually having matches?
That's I think like a year and a half or something like that. I was with them. But when I was training at the beginning at the first place, you can't work a match until you're 18 in Pennsylvania. So it was kind of a slow process starting there because there was time to kill,
You remember that first match in front of a crowd?
Yeah, absolutely. It was at the Sanctuary in 2016.
Ooh. And who was that?
It was like a 4-way tag match.
I got you.
I got stomped by the Cash Masters. I hate you, Clay. I hate you. I know you're not watching, but I hate you.
If you ever stumble across this, just know.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what? I'm gonna text him right now.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm live on YouTube right now. Why don't you check it out?
Yeah, there you go.
I'm on here bad mouthing you.
Yeah, scroll back.
I should
scroll
say,
back 30 seconds.
I should text Mongoose too.
There you go. Yeah, we'll just text. So no more show. We're just gonna text.
Yeah,
we're gonna text.
Just watch them text people. Everybody.
Yeah,
I'll riff.
High quality entertainment.
Yeah. I'll just riff and tell old stories while they do that.
So what's your favorite Tommy Vecs moment, Professor Keith?
Oh, there you go.
And I actually have a good one because I bet you.
Let's go.
So you were actually, when I took the kids to wrestling, you were actually my little girl's first wrestling match, and you were the first wrestler she really liked. I think you were having a match with Greg before either one of you had the high impact title in 3WA. Okay.
Yeah.
And you guys were just doing what you do, going 100 miles an hour, but good story, all of that. And she was just like, yeah, Tommy guy, I like him. He's cool.
That's weird. That's usually the opposite of the usual situation. It's usually, oh, screw this guy. I was at a show last Saturday.
She's a strange kid.
I stepped through the curtain. I swear, I stepped through the curtain. I got the "Who are you?" Boo! It was the saddest I've ever been because that's not what I was going for.
Did you win him back though?
No, it didn't end up happening.
No, it didn't end up happening.
Nah.
What's up, Big Chris in South Carolina? What's up, brother?
Yo, what's up, Chris?
I'm surprised because your style and what you do in there, I feel like it very much lends itself to if you get one of those like, who are you? I'm going to give you crap because I don't know who you are. Like you're one of those workers that I feel like you can get people back with what you do and get them on your side if that's what you're trying to do.
Yeah, the situation was just unfortunate. The person who was supposed to be heel kind of wasn't, but
Right.
So you were kind of
It is
out
what it
there
is.
like, I don't know what to do.
yeah,
Our flow is fucked.
yeah. I mean, the match was fine.
What was your favorite Tommy Vecs moment, Tommy?
Who, me?
Yeah.
When I finally retire, when I can hang them
Oh,
up.
well, you asked that question to Keith, so I figured I'd ask it to you.
I'd have to think about it, and I'll think about it while you tell me your favorite Tommy
Yeah.
Vecs moment.
Well, my favorite Tommy Vecs moment was when Mary Beth was marrying Big Dust, and you showed up.
You little. So, funny story about that. Her father, that was legit her father that was there.
No, I know.
Nice.
He wasn't really given any instructions at all, but he went for it, man. He went for it. He went all in. It was awesome.
Oh, he was gonna kill those guys. He was like that's his little girl in there.
Yeah.
He was like, he was awesome.
Yeah, it was perfect, and I was shocked. I was in absolute shock that he did as well as he did.
Oh,
So-
I got a text back from Mongoose.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but he's too stupid to put on, YouTube and comment here like directly to you instead of he.
He knows how this works. He's been on this show before.
I know he's being dumb.
I don't know if he's being dumb or if he just
Okay.
is. Anywho.
We're burning bridges left and right tonight.
Whatever. Then they're
Well,
done.
Prince Piranha's here. Prince Piranha says, my favorite Tommy Vecs moment is when I shovelhead choke slammed him.
Yeah, that was an epic moment he did. That's a very real thing that happened. Shovelhead Chuck. Yeah, he chokeslammed me. It was pretty awesome. Should have been there. Why weren't you there?
Professor
I should have been there.
Thundercat Greg Winters is here.
Yes.
It's
What's
probably...
up, guys? Thundercat's a wrestler, Tommy, for 17 years down south.
Oh yeah.
Where is the professor? No video. He hasn't been here a while, Keith. He hasn't seen you.
True. He hasn't seen all the camera issues that have been going on. Yeah, I don't know if it's the device, if it's the internet, because sometimes it'll work elsewhere. But I'm gonna see about getting a laptop or something and getting that done. I got a recommendation for what I should go buy now, so I'll go use my fancy discount.
Mongoose asked me, what is Tommy saying about me? I said, tune in and find out.
Yes. No free taste around here. No free taste.
Andy, stop. Hey, we're talking to Tommy Vecs, not Prince Piranha.
Yeah, I've beaten Prince Piranha, I think. I know we've wrestled a handful of times, but
although I love when Prince Piranha tunes in and gives his comments. Sure.
Yeah. That choke slam scrambled your brains.
Greg reminds me of like Bryan Danielson, Tommy, like kind of same build, same moveset sort of. But man, he's got
facially
a lot
of
passion, a ton of passion.
Yeah.
Tommy Vecs seems pretty cool. I'd love to get in the ring with you one day.
I wouldn't put you over. There's no way. It's my character. It just doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense for my character to lose that match.
No. He's here. He's here. Mongoose. Here. How much time he's got left? He's got 45 minutes, Mike. 45 minutes.
Look, that's when I'm done. Okay?
Yeah, he's done when he's done.
So, Mongoose and I had a match one time.
Oh, tell us that story.
It was just a run-of-the-mill match, 8 to 10 minutes, whatever. And Mongoose and I style, we don't do a whole lot. And then we're in the ring. We're like 3 minutes in. They're like, all right, you got like 12 more minutes. So there we are. I'm pretty sure he bit me with his snaggletooth. And I'm pretty sure I still have a scar on there. Telling a story about you. He was always like the cool dad at training back in the day.
He used to, I'll tell you a story about him.
Okay.
He used to come, when he first started training wrestling back in the 90s, I was working at a 7-Eleven. And I mean, I was a kid. I was 18, 19 years old. He was coming in. He's a little older than me, but he was coming in after training. He looked like he had all the rope burns and all that stuff. He was always beat up all the time. And then he was telling me stories about the Samoans and about this guy and about that guy. And then he was telling me about, so I'd hear all his aftermath stories whenever he worked a show or whenever he, had a whole night of training and he came back home because we lived in the same hometown.
Yeah. Yeah, luckily for me.
Oh yeah, I'll tell you something, brother.
I'll tell you something. Luckily for me, by the time I got into the Samoans, things were a little bit different where they didn't just like beat the shit out of you. Am I allowed to say bad words?
Yeah, absolutely.
You can say bad words.
We're rated for adults.
Let's go. That's awesome. Yeah. And they'd still push you, but they wouldn't kill you, which is probably to my benefit. Because it hurts walking now, so.
It hurts walking now? Is that what you just said?
Yeah.
Oh, that's not a good thing, man.
So no, what the problem was, I did leg day, and it's my least favorite day of the year, so I'm still recovering from that.
I got you.
So yeah, squats aren't my friend.
Yeah, Mike, Mongoose, I think still thinks he's got one left in him.
Mike, I want you to look me in the eyes. I'll beat the shit out of you. I'll put you out of your misery.
Holy hell. Next thing you know, he's showing up at Seven Valleys.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
I'll put him out.
Speaking of which, everybody within the sound of my voice, this guy and me and the professor will be down in Seven Valleys, SWO Christmas Chaos 14. Dog Nation explodes for the SWO
Unlimited title.
Unlimited championship.
Al, I am worried that you don't know these things. I feel like I'm going to need to give you some notes.
Just don't stop. Just stop right there. I am the first honorary USO. That's right.
Okay.
He was the first honorary USO.
They're stealing your stuff, man.
Totally stealing his shtick. Sami Zayn. But no, Sami Zayn, I like the whole Sami Zayn thing. I really do. I
do too. When he finally like breaks all that up, it's going to be so much fun.
No, they're going to be together forever.
No.
So this Saturday, I will be in Seven Valleys and doing something. Yeah, that I will. I sure will be. And
Guaranteed.
There's a good chance that I'll have some brand new T-shirts.
Cool. There you go.
Yeah,
very nice.
Available for all of my fan.
Well, the SWO, all of your fan.
Yeah, all of them. All of it.
Singular, not plural. But yeah, SWO fans love you. Don't make no mistake about it. They do erupt when you come out, so they do appreciate you if you don't believe it.
Yeah, sometimes.
Yeah.
So okay, so you Wild Samoans, you start training, you have your first match. All right, where did it go from there? Like, I mean, was the dream? Did you have the dream like a lot of guys do? Like, did you have the dream of doing this for a living? Do you still do?
I was gonna say,
yes.
He's not that old.
Yeah, no, I know the days are behind me. No, it's crazy to see how much the business has evolved since I even got into it. It's not the same game at all anymore.
Yeah.
Right.
There's so many other avenues to make a living off of things. All you need is that one thing to go viral on TikTok, and it's a whole different game.
Right.
So I think it just evolves over time. And what companies are looking for changes by the year, sometimes by the month. So you never really know. You just throw shit at a wall and see what sticks. That's kind of what I'm up to.
And you're still there, right? You just keep working. You just keep plugging away. And you just keep, if the right person sees your shit and you get, that phone call, you're all in, right?
Yeah. And it's also about just having the reps and saying, hey, what can I do better? How can I get better? And, asking the right people, that kind of stuff is always good. So.
Do you find yourself studying old school stuff before your time?
I watch a little bit of everything that's not today's stuff because I don't want to be stealing stuff that people are doing now because somebody's already making money off of that. So
right.
No need to borrow that.
Yeah, and I mean, I was listening to a podcast earlier today about wrestling, and they were talking about how a lot of wrestling moves have disappeared over the years, right? Like the bear hug. Nobody does the bear hug anymore because nowadays crowd might be conceived as boring.
Yeah.
Or not too many people do back body drops.
Well, those are my favorite.
Yeah, which my pushback on that is nothing is boring unless you make it boring.
Oh.
If you know how to actually do it and work it and make a story out of it, it's not boring.
She wants to say hi.
There she is.
There she
Say
is.
hi. Say hi.
Such a pretty girl.
And for the camera. I seen him. He has the it factor. He does. That's the thing that enthralled me about you, Tommy, when I first saw you. The first time I ever saw you was in a 3WA ring, and I believe you wrestled Greg the Mechanic Manuel. I could be wrong there. But that's the first time I saw you. And it's just that, like, you're so good at engaging a crowd. You're so good at making everybody believe what you're doing. Like, I think that you have all those intangibles, and what Mike, when wrestlers call it the it factor, I think that means, to me, is what it means is you could look right into the camera and make us believe what you're about to say, no matter what you say.
Oh, that's awesome. I'll make you believe it.
Yeah. And you're fun too. Like your style,
the bear hug,
your style, like,
yeah, exactly.
Exactly, and that's my point. Like, people will say, "Oh, it's a rest hold, therefore it's boring," and it's like, no, it's that you don't know what you're doing.
Submission for some big giant guys,
right? And like I say, if you know what you're doing and you protect things and you protect moves, it works. I mean, you just had Chris Jericho tap out to a big swing to Cesaro yesterday.
Right.
You know, if you protect moves and you have big enough stars that are saying, yeah, I'll take that. I'll lose to that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, all of a sudden now the fans are going to go, oh, that's legit. That's a real thing. Okay. And that's how guys used to protect their bodies. If you won't protect some of these basic moves, then yeah, you have to do jumping off the turnbuckle through plate glass and, 30 tables and, shoot the other guy or something. Like, if you escalate and you continue to do that stuff and you won't protect simple things, you'll say, oh, a DDT doesn't beat me anymore. Well, then eventually it's going to get up to the point where it's just like, okay, murder. Murder is the only way to win a wrestling match now because everybody kicks out of everything else. So you're just not going to be able to have a pulse anymore to be able to beat somebody. It's just silly to me. Like, the whole point of making it a work was so people wouldn't get hurt and wouldn't die.
I think that an important thing is knowing your audience. That's just what some audiences are going to want, all the flippy shit, but that's not me. I think, in my honest opinion, I don't think the moves matter that much.
No.
It's how you use
story.
Them. They're just tools to tell the story.
What is the biggest drawing match that everybody talks about? It's Hogan-Andre still. It's Hogan-Andre. You look at that match. If you look at that match from a work rate perspective, it's shit. They didn't do anything. They did nothing. But because what they did do, they put so much emphasis on it, so much story, so much ballyhoo, and you had everything going into it. They didn't need to do a ton of shit. It would actually be terrible if they did a ton of stuff.
Yeah,
right.
Everything they did mattered, and it worked.
And what's the working match they talk about at WrestleMania 3? They don't talk about that when they talk about Savage and Steamboat.
Right, and that was great too. But like I say, it's different. It's different flavors. Like Tommy just said, know your audience. There's an audience for everything. But I think when people, that's one of the problems the business has. I don't think with guys now, which I love. But I think there's a certain element from maybe the last generation, the guys that are a little older now and are maybe going to shift out in the next 5 to 10 years. There was that, they were the ones that brought in that element of like, oh, we can't go slow anymore. Oh, we can't do rest holds because rest holds are bad. And this is bad. And we have to go 100 miles an hour or it's no good. And it's like, no.
I have a question. I have a question from Chris Vant. He says, how do you pregame before a match?
So I don't have like a ritual before a match. My life is just absolute insanity. Like straight up, I'm just a mess of a person.
He shows up 5 minutes before he's supposed to go out there.
Well, there's not that. I always like to be early,
Okay.
but
That's good.
yeah, I don't have a set ritual. Like I said, it's usually just absolute insanity. I'll just be bullshitting with someone. Oh, my music's on. See you, bye.
Right.
Yeah, there's not a whole lot of focus that goes into that at all. And I'd probably be much better if there was a little bit, but you know.
The giant swing tap out is on point because in reality you would want to get sick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, if I ever take it, I'm puking all over the place.
I think Mongoose should work on it and he should be the one to give it to you.
I'm in.
The last match, Mongoose Vecs.
Watch Hogan and Warrior. They said they'd never pull it off.
I called dibs on being the first match for that one, so everybody has to work in my puke.
We'll jerk the curtain. It'll be fine.
That was on the Tales of the. Do you guys watch Tales of the Territories? I know Keith does.
Yeah.
Tommy, you watch Tales of the Territory? So there's a story on one of those new ones, the Tales of the Territory, where somebody like had a bag full of shit. It was like a rib, and they brought it into the audience, and like some of the audience members were getting sick, and then one of the wrestlers got sick, and the other wrestlers who had to wrestle after them were pissed off because they had to wrestle in that ring.
Understandably so.
Yeah.
Mongoose wants to know how easy was your training?
Depends on where. Depends on what day. Depends on what year, honestly. Really all just depends.
Because you never stop learning?
No, never ever. And a lot of times it's just what a lot of schools will do is try to push you to quit to make sure you want it.
Right.
Because I think there's a problem where you just let anybody into the business. Anybody can come wrestle, and some people aren't tough enough to do that.
That's very true. It's not for everybody, and that idea that anybody can do it, I hate that. I hate that some people think that.
Yeah, it's not supposed to be easy. Like I can't go play in the NFL.
Right.
Exactly.
No matter how hard I tried, it just, you know what I mean?
Yep.
Absolutely.
I know I couldn't do it, so I would never try. But I felt like I could talk and enhance what you guys do, and that seems to be going okay so far. Most people are saying they like that. So, but again, know your limitations. I knew I was never going to be somebody that could be in the ring, but I thought I could contribute in other ways.
I don't really. You wear Depends?
Oh my God! Yeah,
you said the word Depends. All right, so Thundercat's got a really big comment. Let me get through it here. I don't want to leave him out. Thundercat says the best move to lose to is a clothesline from a new guy who has no ring experience, and say you have a heel come out and you plant your newcomer as a crowd member. Heel totally kicks his ass. Then he comes back with a few clotheslines after an outside interference by another babyface. Perfect win for a newbie.
Yeah.
As long as it's a Canadian destroyer, not a clothesline, I'm in.
Gotta protect my heat, brother.
Yeah. Are you kidding me?
Did I just let you have your way?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't either.
I'm not sure what that. Elaborate, please.
I think he means with the training, when you trained with him, did you let him? Did he just let you have your way?
It was a fair balance. I had to work, but that's the way it should be.
In training, that was just elaboration.
Yeah. There's a fine balance.
Right. Have you always used the same finish like your whole career, or have you evolved different ones over the years?
It changed a few times. The biggest finish that I probably have and ever have had is I lay down on my back and look up at the lights. Somebody lays on top of me and the ref counts to 3.
That's brilliant. That's brilliant. That's absolutely brilliant.
It's tough at my size because it should be a move that you could do to anybody.
Right.
And it's tough to find something that people don't use.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'm always trying to figure something new out.
Right. But the thing is, it's like with all these new innovative stuff, right? Like, how do you feel? You mentioned earlier, when I asked you if you studied old school stuff, you said yeah, because the new stuff, like, it's over. Like, if I'm watching new stuff, they're making money off of
Yeah.
that. So, with that in mind, how do you feel about the differences between stuff that guys are doing nowadays? It seems like nowadays they try to come up with the most craziest thing you've ever seen because everything else has been done. So they want to show you that they're trying hard to show you something that hasn't been done. And they want that wow factor.
And some finishes are transition spots now. They're not even finishes.
I was
anymore.
asking Tommy that question.
I think that they make more money than I do, so they could do whatever they want. It's not, you know what I mean? They're more successful than I am, whether I like it or not.
I understand that, but what I mean is like the way the business has gone, and you admit that you still would love to make a living doing this. Like, maybe, I don't know, like NXT or AEW or something like that. I mean, if that ever happened for you, that'd be awesome. But like, when you live in a world where these moves now are become more normal than not, or these moves that they do now, the stuff that they do now is outrageously crazy. You know, you admitted just a little bit ago that you don't and Mike Mongoose before you don't do a heck of a lot. Like, you do enough to really put on a good story, put on a great match. You could work with anybody. You're an awesome worker, but you don't need to do. I think what I'm asking you is, I don't think you need to do the things that they do to really get attention. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, less is more. That's
right.
That's rule number one. First thing Mike taught me, less is more, and slow down. Those two things, less is more.
That's a great one. Slow down. Keith loves that. Slow down.
Yeah, because the little kid that you're working in the front row there, you're just moving around. He's not going to know. He doesn't have the little speed thing, the little speed gun, and knows how fast you're going. In his mind, you're flying all over the place. If you watch anybody like a Cena or anybody like that, The Rock, they're not moving very quickly at all.
No.
Seems like it, but they're really not.
With all respect to all your opponents you've ever faced, do you have like a short list of favorites that you enjoyed working with?
Yeah, there's always a bunch of people that is always a lot of fun. And sometimes it's not even for like the wrestling itself. It's for the ridiculous conversations that I'll have. One of my favorite matches, it was at Triple WA. So one of the matches ended up going home early. Another match ended up going home way early. I had already worked, and Keikoa was there. He was just chilling there. He had something, I don't forget why he was there. But at intermission, Dino's like, "Hey, will you wrestle?" And Keiko was like, "Yeah, sure. Let me go get my gear." And it ended up being me that he worked, and I already worked once before. Went out, cut my promo about how the ref screwed me. Not happening again. Out comes Keiko, and we worked on the fly. Solid like 8 to 10, and it was just all on the fly. Stuff like that's so much fun because the less pressure I have to remember things, the better.
Do you feel like that's maybe a little bit of a lost art? Because more and more we hear about, even if it's not WWE, where infamously every move is choreographed and scripted out, but even with the indies, I feel like more and more guys are stopping and going like, "I want to do this, I want to do that." How much better do you think it is? Do you think that's a good idea, or is it better to just kind of get in the ring and be like, "We'll call it on the fly, let's see what the fans are responding to, and we'll make it up as we go along"? What do you think is the better way to go?
It depends on your audience, honestly.
Okay.
If you know they're going to want super indie stuff, it's going to be very difficult to call that stuff on the fly.
Right.
You know, a lot of transitional stuff is very difficult. But if it's an old school type crowd, then you'll be fine calling it out there. You can feel it. It really just depends on who you're working with. You have to know each other's movesets, obviously. Yeah, I can't just meet you and say, "Hey, let's go work," because you need to know what each other does and what they can do and their limitations, if that answers your question.
No, it does. Very much does.
Describe Tommy Vecs, the character, in your mind.
I feel like I'm just a cartoon character in a way. It's just ridiculousness, just insanity. A lot of my ideas come from just sitting here staring into space, or while I'm at work, just staring into space. The whole Dust thing, and I give them a lot of credit for the storytelling of that. Dust and Rob, I give them a lot of credit for it. But I was just laying there, I couldn't fall asleep, and I knew that it was like the goons were involved in the match, and I thought it would be really, really funny if there was a moment where Dust and Mary Beth get in the ring, they stand face to face, Dust snaps, and a song plays, and they start slow dancing. For some reason, that was just really funny to me. And then they started talking about a wedding and stuff.
And how'd you feel about that when you first heard it? Were you all aboard? Were you like, oh, that's gonna be awesome?
Yeah, absolutely. It's just funny. Where'd he go?
Sorry. So Mongoose is back. Okay, so listen, you don't need to do a lot of spots. It's still wrestling. So save the big stuff for a really big show. Always have your gear.
Yep. That's always a rule.
Call it on the fly needs chemistry.
Yeah.
Yep. Definitely.
True too.
Oh,
Thanks,
yeah,
Mike.
you're welcome.
All I needed, see, Tommy, all I needed to do was text him. Poof, he shows up.
Yeah.
He's here. I love it.
Yeah, that's good.
No, I've known him a long time, and I love Mike, and he knows that.
Yeah. He's a great dude.
Well, that's one of the things we want to do on here. We want to have these shows so that if there are people that are just starting out or whatever, you can have these little classes, because fuck do Al and I really know. We're just Uber fans. You guys are the ones that are the professionals. You know how this works.
Do I though? Are you sure? Is that annoying?
I think
Is my heater blowing into the mic?
No.
Okay,
no.
Cool. It just kicked on.
So 2016, you said, right? 2016.
That's when I had my first match. It was
when it really got going for you. So, So we're talking in the span of 6 years. If you could go back and give your 2016 version of you advice, what would it be?
I think surrounding myself around the different crew of people. Some shady fellows have come and gone. So I think that would definitely be the number one thing for me, would be just surround myself with other people. I don't know if it would get me any further, maybe get involved with different groups and stuff like that to expand. I think the number one thing, though, if I could tell myself, is just about storytelling in a match and understanding how it works. Because, man, I did some dumb stuff, landed on my head for no reason and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But if it was more of a story oriented thing, then I probably wouldn't have been in a position I have to make this look ridiculous.
And I tell you, we haven't mentioned her the entire interview, but your chemistry with Mary Beth, when you guys are together, when you guys are, when she's outside the ring and you're wrestling, I get a really good vibe there. It's not. I don't want to say Macho Man and Elizabeth, because Mary Beth is a lot more animated and physical, and she gets involved more often. So
and emo.
And talk about her a little bit, because I feel like I don't want to disclude her in your interview, because she is a big part of what you do a lot of times.
So I'll tell you how we met and how all that worked, because why the heck not? So
Sure.
It was actually at an SWO show, and she was doing her thing, I was doing my thing. We just kind of started talking, and then, we started texting, and then shit got weird in her life. And yes, that is another thing right there.
Yeah.
That's another thing. It's hard to weigh. I'll get back to the story in a second, but it's hard to weigh if I go travel somewhere, if it will advance my career that much more to make it worth it, if that makes sense.
Right.
No, yeah.
Because I could go wrestle in, I don't know, Alabama or something like that.
Right.
But is it going to be a different experience than working in, I don't know, Seven Valleys, say? It's just some random no-name town, if that makes sense.
Right.
No, it does, because you always want to feel like you're leveling up instead of staying on your same level, but you're spending more money to stay there.
Exactly. That's the way I look at it. Maybe that's the wrong way to look at it. But
Well, I remember CM Punk saying that in an interview, that was one of the things he had to learn, was not to just take every booking because somebody would call him up and go, "Oh, I got a show somewhere, do you want to be on it?" And being like, "Yeah, because I need to go everywhere and I need to do everything and I need to work everywhere," and kind of learning when to be like, "Yeah, that's not going to advance me. That's not going to help me. So I got to learn when to say no, and I got to learn how to be selective and what shows are the shows I need to be on and what shows are the shows I don't need to be on."
Yep, that's always good. And it doesn't hurt to go out there, because say someone's on that show that knows someone from somewhere else.
Right.
It doesn't hurt to do that. But I don't know. It's just hard to find those connections out in the wilderness out there.
Yeah, it's dumb luck sometimes. Just pure dumb luck.
And that's all. 100%. That's what it is. This guy knows the right guy. That kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah. Anywho.
Yeah, go ahead.
Her and I. Yeah, it was at
Yes.
a Seven Valley show, and then we started talking, and then we started hanging out, and then by the time you know it, she's my manager, and now we live together, and
Right.
we have a dog. So. Yeah, that's kind of, I think, spending all the time together. Of course, we have chemistry, and it happens a lot where we were like on the way home from the show that we were just at. We were listening to Christmas music, obviously, because that's just the way that it goes. We weren't singing, but then we start singing at the same exact time at that same. It's just weird stuff like that. We're on the same frequency, I guess, and that helps when it comes to wrestling.
Yeah.
Absolutely, because you're on the same page.
Yeah, there's a lot of times where I'll do something and she'll know exactly what I want from her, and vice versa. So
Right.
It's always good to have that.
And I mean, she wrestles too. I mean, she's not just your manager. She wrestles a lot. I mean, she's obviously well trained. Did she go through the same training or similar training that you did, or did you train her, or how'd that work?
She trained with Keikoa when he had his school up in the Poconos.
Okay.
And yeah, we ended up moving together right around then with Keikoa. Actually, it was a big wrestling house. It was awesome. But yeah, she trained up there, and Keikoa's school closed because he moved down to Florida. So then she's just kind of out on her own a little bit. I'll let her tell her whole story.
Well, yeah, because and you and I have talked about this, that like I flirted with the idea of having both of you on together, but you said by your own admission, well, why not do it separately?
Yeah,
because then we get two shows out of it, and I'm all for that. I want to make sure that you guys were all for that. That's all.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
because we would love to have her, and we'd love to talk to her, and hopefully we can make that happen soon.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, she's a lot better than I am.
You mentioned Alabama. Greg is in Alabama. Yeah.
And that's another thing. If I had a connection there where I could either fly in or have somewhere to stay.
Right.
That's the important part.
We usually have Chick Donovan, Action Mike Jackson, Jack Lord, Buff Bagwell, Johnny Swinger in our area almost every show.
Greg, I'm going to hit you up.
There you go.
You should, because you
guys trade names on Facebook, Greg. Greg Thundercat Winters. Well, he calls himself Greg Thundercat Cable, or sometimes the Last Spartan.
A lot of times people won't want to book people from out of the area because of pay and stuff like that, because they know that you're going to be paying the travel, or you need a carload of people to make it work, and it's hard to get people on board with that. You're not guaranteed a booking most of the time because they don't know who you are.
Right. That is true. Greg said that is true. Yeah. Although we had Greg on one time, and he was openly invited by Dino Sana to come up and wrestle for 3WA.
Yeah, we keep trying to warm up here.
And I said, man, I would love that. I would even put him up. I would put Greg Winters up to come up here and wrestle somebody up here.
Yeah. Oh, it looks like he has a wife.
Twice. Yeah.
Looks like he has like a wife and a newborn or something like that.
He does. He has a brand new family going on there. Yeah.
Congratulations, buddy.
He does. Absolutely. Yes. Greg's a good guy because Greg's been a friend of the show from the beginning. He was one of our early guests and he sends us matches all the time because he values our opinion. I have no idea why, but I appreciate what he does because I love giving our opinions to his matches. And then he even sent us a match one time that he wanted us to actually commentate, which we did.
Oh yeah, I think that there's when it comes to
19 months.
Nice.
19 months.
I'm starting to learn, not because of my own kid, but like I think right around 2 years old is when they become a person, and that's the best time because you can have fun with them.
Yeah.
Yep. They start talking in sentence fragments.
Yeah.
They start running around. Right. They start running around.
A 2-year-old child dap me up and say, "Let's go."
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
Speaking of children, you seem to keep running into a little guy named Gavin. You know that guy?
Never heard of him.
Yes, no. And he I see an infamous picture or video of him putting you in the camel clutch, Iron Sheik style.
So yeah, when I first met that little booger, he was standing outside of Triple WA dressed up as the Iron Sheik.
Yeah.
So naturally, I'm in my street clothes. So they, I just walked by and saw him, and I was like, this will be really funny. I just walk up to him and his dad and say, "Hey, put me in the camel clutch." So of course he does in the middle of the hallway there. We get a picture of it. And that's kind of how all of that started, all of the ridiculousness. And it's not over yet. There's still a lot. There's still.
I know. He just pops up. Like I was at a show in Hamburg, and he was there dressed as Ric Flair.
Yep.
And then a couple weeks later, I was up at Frontier, and he was there. He showed up there dressed up like Bret the Hitman Hart.
Yep.
I was talking to his dad, and his dad's like, he just loves this. Like, I'm like, well, you had to have shown the kid's a little kid. You had to have shown him something. He goes, I only show him old stuff. Like, he don't watch today's WWE. He don't watch today's AEW. He just knows the old school stuff, man. Yeah. He knows, Iron Sheik and Ric Flair and Hulk Hogan and Bret the Hitman Hart and the Road Warriors and and then he draws on top of that. He makes drawings of wrestlers.
Yep, I have.
Oh, you probably have it. Yeah, look at that.
Yep, I got a few of them.
Look at that.
I have a whole stack. Oh, yeah.
He's a huge fan of yours.
This is the sheet.
There it is. There it is. Had him in the camel clutch. It was awesome. It was awesome.
Yeah, he's the absolute best. He's my favorite.
He is.
I don't like him. He's mean.
Yeah.
He humbled you.
Because he humbles you every time he sees you.
Him and his dad are like the most creative people without you knowing it. A lot of the stuff that we do is all their idea. It's fantastic. We did a fun thing today that'll be available later, and I might get sued for it. We'll get into that a little bit later.
We're getting into it later. Like, what do you speak?
Off the air, we'll get into it.
Okay.
Okay.
I got you.
No, it was.
Well, I did notice some of your T-shirts flirt with that. Like, some of your T-shirts do flirt with, copyright infringement, so to speak.
So the way that I look at it, if somebody wants to give me a cease and desist, I fucking made it. I made it in the business. Somebody sends me a cease and desist. How great is that? I made it.
I've noticed.
I'm not arguing it.
You care about it.
I made a giant corporation mad.
Yeah, it would just be great. They know who I am.
Yeah.
Do they know who you are? No, they know who I am.
No, they don't know who we are.
That's very true. Very, very true. So what's next for you? Like, I don't want to say, where do you see yourself in 5 years? Because I hate that question. And I ask that sometimes to a lot of guys who are like been in the business for a minute. You've been in a lot longer than that. So respectfully, I want to ask you, what are your future plans? Like,
it goes back to the business is always changing. It's always evolving. Just the next step of some of the bigger indie companies are kind of what I'm looking at now. Because that's kind of the next step. It's
sure.
And whatever happens on the way there. And
you feel you're ready right now?
I think I need to do a few cycles of steroids and then I'm all in. Just depends. A lot of times, it's like casting in a movie.
Right.
A lot of the times, you're just lucky in the right spot, right guy, right time. We're looking for this. You know what I mean? We're
Absolutely.
looking for this. We're looking for that. If I fit the bill, good. If I don't, then I don't.
If you could book yourself against a wrestler that you've always wanted to wrestle but never have yet, who would that be?
Huh. That's a good question. Are we talking on a local level? Or
It doesn't matter.
Because I just had my Ooh La La match, and that was
Well,
kind of
because there's both. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember seeing your post about that.
Mr. Ooh La La.
That was probably like one of my favorite matches, just because of who Mr. Ooh La La is. He's my favorite. Then I want to lean towards somebody who just gets the business, who understands it, so that way I can learn.
Yeah.
Like,
So
it would be cool to work somebody like a friend of mine or something like that. Cool, but
Right.
I'd get a lot more working somebody who's been there and done that.
So necessarily a veteran that can still go.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
I'm trying to think of who would reasonably, like, oh, John Cena, because that's not a
No.
reasonable.
Yeah.
Rob Van Dam.
That would be someone that would be cool. I think like a Matt Hardy or something, like somebody who's reinvented themselves so many times to where
Right.
it's like I can figure things out if I talk to this guy. That's always good. I wish that I could go back and get a mulligan on Rock and Roll Express. That would be cool.
Yeah.
I was about a year and a half in the biz when I worked them.
Really?
Yeah, and that was probably a little too soon because I'd have questions now that I didn't before. So that would, I guess, that would kind of be one, because again, they've been around forever.
Yeah, and I mean Ricky Morton's, the Ricky Morton cell, like you've got a guy there that has invented a way of doing something.
Yep. And if I'm for fun, I'd say like Marty Jannetty or something like that.
Nice.
Because that would just be fun. Like, how awesome of a flex would that be? It's like, Marty
Yeah.
Jannetty. You know what
It's
I mean?
Marty Jannetty. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that answer. I really, really do.
Yeah. Because, like, cool, you can go have a match with someone for your ego, but, like, that's not going to get you signed.
Yeah.
So the last thing I have for you is fill in the blank.
Oh, this isn't going to be good.
The greatest wrestling match you ever watched
Ooh.
that you did not participate in is?
This is a tough question. I would say, like, personally, just investment-wise, probably Michaels and Undertaker at WrestleMania, the second one.
Mania 26.
Is that the one where Michaels retired?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I
The
would say
streak
probably
versus
that one.
career.
Yeah, probably that one. Just all of the story. That's around the time I was like prime in on watching wrestling all the time and totally all in.
How much do you pay attention to it nowadays?
I see things come up on like Instagram and stuff like that. It's hard to pay attention to it all.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
Anything
Well,
that
some
happened in
guys-
the month of October into November didn't happen to me because like the fills were hot. So like,
Oh, right.
Yeah.
so that whole month didn't happen.
I mean, I did want to end with the Phils. I want to end with who's going to win the World Series next year?
If it's not going to be the Phillies, I hope it's the Rangers because fuck the Mets. I want DeGrom to go get his ring somewhere else.
That was a hell of a run, man. I mean, National League champions from the 6th seed in the playoffs, and I mean that place just went crazy. And I'll never forget Scott Fransky's call when Harper hit the home run. When Harper hit the home run, he said the words "Bedlam in the bank," which will be said forever.
Yeah, that's definitely on a T-shirt. My favorite was
that kind of made him.
My favorite was Larry Anderson. I forget what Fransky said, but you just hear LA in the background. Yeah, he did, like almost in tears. It was awesome. It's freaking awesome.
Yeah, that was so great because I grew up I'm a little older than you, so I grew up at a time when I remember Harry Callis, and
I love that.
I remember Harry Callis calling like Mike Schmidt's 500th home run, and
Yeah.
I used to listen to Harry Callis down at the beach, like just when I was a kid. You know, you'd have the beach, you'd have the radio, you'd have Harry Callis, you'd have the Phils on, right?
Yeah.
And man, this season was awesome. It was magical because it's been so long. You had that run from like 07 to 10.
Yep.
And it's been so long. We've been waiting for this now, and that now they're spending money, and they actually built a team here.
Yeah.
And now they got to the World Series, and now they went and even spent more to kind of put them over the hump. So it's exciting.
It's crazy.
And I think the fans are going to come back. I think that place is going to be packed almost each and every game, if not every Sunday at least.
It's going to be tough for opening day because we have a little tradition now that we go to every opening day.
Yeah.
That we actually just started this past year because it's after COVID.
And you guys were correct me if I'm wrong, were you at a World Series game?
Technically, we were at 2 because the first one got postponed to the second.
There's the rain out. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a good game to be at. 7-0. They won by a touchdown.
Someone called the Iron Voice says it's crazy to see how awesome Hulk Hogan was in Japan. That's kind of out of left field.
Yeah, but we were talking about Hogan earlier. I think
we were talking about Hogan.
Knowing your audience.
Well, This has been awesome. Thank you for allowing me this privilege. No, Mongoose. Thank you for your comments
later, kid.
And your candor. And Merry Christmas to you and Mario and the family. I love you guys.
Yeah, tell Mario I said what's up. Tell him he owes me a match.
Love Mario. Love Mario.
Yep.
Definitely want him back in the ring, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I've been begging him since I started. Like, hey, wrestle me.
He's in and out. From what I've gathered from him when I talked to him, I was a guest on his podcast.
Oh,
and big shout out to Seven. What's it called? Man, I'm gonna get in trouble.
Oh, you're screwed.
Cinema 7. Sorry, Cinema 7 podcast. So Cinema 7 podcast is available on Spotify. There it is. There's the plug. And Merry Christmas, brothers. Thank you, Mongoose. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Merry Christmas to you.
Mario had me on, and we were talking about wrestling in general, just in general.
Yeah.
Not necessarily about his career or his father, but, just wrestling in general. And it was an awesome conversation. I enjoyed every minute of it. Yeah. And I got to know him because I didn't know him before. Like, I hadn't talked to Mongoose in years. I knew he had a son, but I didn't know he was as old as Mario is. And so I was like, wow, yeah, there it is. Cinema 7. Yes, Cinema 7.
Yeah.
Thank you. And they talk about movies, they talk about video games, they talk about whatever. It's kind of a hodgepodge kind of thing. But like that conversation, I'll never forget that conversation because it was deep. I mean, it was really deep. And I mean, I had him in tears just talking about how much his father is proud of him and things like that. And it was a really great conversation. But yeah, I want him back in the ring. His dad wants him back in the ring. A lot of people want him back in the ring. And apparently Tommy Vecs wants him back in the ring.
Yeah, I'll beat him up. I'll beat his dad up. Beat the shit out of all of them.
I will pay a lot of money to see that happen. There you go. The challenge has been laid out, Mario.
Yeah, Mario.
I love it. All right, brother, our hour is just about up. Professor, you have any last-minute parting gifts?
I just want to thank Tommy for his time. This was a fun one. I think we all had fun on this one, didn't we?
And fast.
It's all right.
It went very fast. You only think it went, I hope you had a good time.
Yeah, absolutely. It's always fun. I haven't done one of these in a little while.
Love it. And the SWO faithful are going to be tuning in and checking this one out. If they weren't watching live, they'll be watching the replay.
Yep.
But this man and the professor and myself will be in Seven Valleys on December the 17th, Saturday. Doors open at 6 o'clock. Tickets are $20 at the door. Come check us out. Come check him out. SWO Christmas Chaos 14. Dog Nation, Sage Matthews versus Alan Clayball. This guy's going to be in action, and all the other SWO regulars will be there. Ken Andrews, etc. Blah blah blah.
Not too late to see a match of the year, and I think we might.
What,
I don't know
Tommy?
about that.
What, Tommy Vecs versus
No, I'm saying
brick
I'm
wall?
saying in general.
Yeah.
Oh well, Tommy Vecs versus the Brick Wall is the match of forever. It's
Oh,
gonna
that'd be
just
great.
it's gonna be Hogan Andre. It's gonna be the new standard bearer that everybody's like, we can't follow that.
I
We can't
love
do
it.
better than that.
I would like to see him cut a promo face to face with the brick wall. You know what I'm saying? Like where he's yelling at the brick wall.
Oh, it'd be, yeah, man. I'll do it. I'll go do it right now. I'll take
All right, man. Don't go anywhere when we go off the air, all right?
Yep.
Professor, you and I will be here back next Sunday on the 18th at our regular time at 6 o'clock for our end of year spectacular. We're going to do the year in review, the 2022, some of our best interviews from 2022. We're going to talk about it and end the year. That is our last Around the Turnbuckle of 2022, guys. So next Sunday, we will be there. Meantime, we're going to see everybody down in Seven Valleys on Saturday. For Tommy Vecs and the Professor, I'm the Big Al Boski. We'll see you guys next time on Around the Turnbuckle.
Ladies and gentlemen, this contest set for one fall is for the WWE